In this video, I will share a personal decision-making process that evolved while trying to help my son decide between two companies for his summer internship. By the end of this video, you will be able to use this simple decision-making process whenever you are in a pinch without even thinking about it. I request you to watch the video from start to finish to get the most out of your time investment. As a bonus, I will also share why the pros and cons list is not my favorite method, which will inspire you to rethink how you make decisions. You will see the limitations of the pros and cons list. I promise to present everything in a non academic way and distill the information into easily chewable nuggets that you can put into practice without referring to any complicated flowcharts. How does that sound? As always, let's start with a quote. When we connect our choices to our preferences and the probability of outcomes, we strengthen our decision-making process. As mentioned earlier, this decision-making process evolved while trying to help my son decide between two companies for his summer internship. His internship directly impacts his specialization in the final year of university and his future career path. So it was an important decision. When he asked me, "Dad, which company should I join?" I wore my consulting and decision-making hat. Before I share the decision-making process, I want to clarify a few standard terms and their meaning which I will use repeatedly. Decision tree. A decision tree is a map of the possible outcomes of a decision. It allows you to weigh possible actions based on their preferences, possibilities, probabilities, payoffs, trade-offs, upside and downside. Oh, that was a mouthful. Let's unpack all these terms one by one. Preferences are your likes and dislikes. One man's happiness is another man's misery. What is important to you, your values or goals, influence your preferences. Preferences allow you to decide how many possible decision outcomes you like and how many you don't like. Preferences help you to rank the order of possibilities. But what do we mean by possibilities? Possibilities are potential outcomes. Any decision can have multiple outcomes, right? The outcome you get is not the only outcome you could have got. Each branch of a decision tree indicates a possible outcome or action. Probability estimates the likelihood of a particular outcome occurring. Payoff and trade-off. The payoff is the gains or losses of an outcome. For any set of results, there would be something you would gain at the expense of something else. Important decisions usually have conflicting goals. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Therefore, you have to make trade-offs. Option A would be better than option B on some objectives, but worse on others. This is also known as trade-offs. The upside is the favorable aspect of the decision, what you can gain from the decision. The downside is the negative aspect of the decision, what you lose from a decision. How much you expose yourself to the downside becomes your risk. All these factors which we just spoke about, the preferences, possibilities, probabilities, payoffs, trade-offs, upside, downside, make a good decision tree. When making decisions, all these factors are churning in your mind, but you don't realize their interplay. What I did with my son was to help him uncover these factors to make him more conscious of his decision-making process. Here is an example of how we used the decision tree to express the likelihoods or probabilities of different outcomes for company A. We then repeated the same process for company B. So here is how it looks like decision tree for company A. On the top, We've got likelihood of different outcomes, potential outcome, and probability of happening or likelihood. Let's look at the first one now. He enjoys the internship and gets the necessary experience. Everything goes as planned. Very high probability. He likes the internship but hates the long commute. Probably. He loves the company, but the commute that involves changing 2 trains plus a car drive and 45 minutes car drive to the train station takes its toll, and he decides to quit. Low probability. He continues with company A until he gets another offer and switches between the internship. Unlikely. He hates the experience and the commute and decides to quit his internship. Rarely. He dislikes the company culture because it doesn't align with his values. The commute is a complete waste of time. He quits the idea of summer internship altogether and chooses to complete a subject in the summer to get credits. Low probability. Since company A has a firm name in the market to groom new interns, and he may get an opportunity for more relevant experience in stock trading, probably. Mapping out the possibilities and probabilities gives you a better view of the quality of your decision. You can come up with a list that makes the most sense to you, like frequently, maybe, often, not often, serious possibility, always, almost, certainly. You get the point. You can add even percentage if that makes you more comfortable. Once we had created the decision tree, I leaned on his preferences. I asked him what aspect of the outcome he cared about the most. Basically, I was looking for a specific payoff. We drilled down on the upside, downside, and risks. His preferences helped us to sharpen the focus on what mattered to him by narrowing the payoffs and the trade offs. We strengthened the choices by re ranking his preferences, tying them to the probability of something happening. A choice that was high on his preference list and high on his likelihood of happening became his obvious choice. We followed the same procedure for the other company, B. By the end of the exercise, my son could see a pattern, and automatically he gravitated towards a selection. We logically and intuitively arrived at a more informed decision. I'm just giving you ideas. You can alter this process to suit yourself. No decision making process or advice could be prescriptive. This is why decision making is the most challenging skill because of its fuzzy nature. May I ask you for a favor? Can you share this video with one friend? If you're feeling inspired, please hit the like button too. Thanks for your support. Now, we come to the bonus section. You might be thinking, why can't we create a simple pros and cons list? Yes, you could, but I am not a fan of pros and cons list. Here is why. The pros and cons list does not consider the likelihood or probability of something happening. It gives no importance to the decision maker's preferences, likes, or dislikes. It creates an unstable decision making structure. Pros and cons are suitable for evaluating a single option but can't compare two options. Another drawback of pros and cons is that it doesn't factor in the payoff size. If there are 5 pros and 1 con, does that mean you should go for the decision? It is impossible to decide without knowing the size of the payoffs. How can you determine if the upside potential outweighs the downside? Let me explain this with an example. You are planning to go on a special diet to help you lose weight and to help you lose weight rapidly. The pros are lose weight rapidly, save $100 per month on groceries, less cooking time, ready to eat, always available. Wow, it sounds too good to be true. The con is the diet has a potential to cause liver damage. The payoff size changes everything, and pros and cons don't consider this factor. The good thing about pros and cons is that they set you off thinking about the upside and downside. I agree. The limitation of pros and cons is that it doesn't let you think of the magnitude of the payoff. Just think about it. Remember, every decision comes with an upside and downside. Without examining the size of the payoff, it is impossible to know whether going for the upside is worth taking the risk. For example, how often have you driven to work by moving fast and rashly when you were running late? The upside could be to reach in time, don't upset your boss, appear punctual, and don't lose credibility. The downside could be a speeding ticket or running into a fatal accident. Is it worth going for the upside and taking the risk? Always look at the size or the magnitude of the payoff. Suppose you include all the factors that I shared in your decision making process. In that case, you will have a better chance of making smarter decisions with fewer regrets. In summary, always include preferences, possibilities, probabilities, payoffs, trade-offs, upside, downside, and risk in your decision tree. Don't ignore the magnitude of the payoff. Without examining the size of the payoff, it is impossible to know whether going for the upside is worth taking the risk. Don't get blinded by the pros and cons list. Use preferences to rank your outcome. Re-rank your preferences by tying them to the probability of happening. Your support motivates me to create more content. Please subscribe and click on the bell icon, and you will get a notification when I publish new videos. A new idea could change your life or come in handy when you need it the most. Thanks for the gift of your time. See you next time. Bye for now.